Okay, we have started measuring, and we're measuring length, and we've begun to use customary units, and we're going to look at how we measure with customary units using inches on a ruler. Inches on a ruler. We know that the first thing we want to do today, we want to measure this pencil. And so the first thing we have to do is see where we have to see what our unit is. What are we going to be measuring in, everybody?
Inches.
Right here we see inches. It doesn't always tell us. This time it tells us, but we do know that these are inches because it does tell us that they're inches. So we're ready to measure this pencil, and we need to see where this pencil begins. And I'm going to go down, and my strategy is going to be to draw a line straight down, and when I do, I see it begins where, everybody? At the zero, absolutely. Then I'm going to go ahead and look at the end, where this pencil ends, or where it stops. I'm going to go down, draw my line straight down, and I see that it stops at the
3.
Absolutely, it stops at the 3. And then here, if you're able to write on something, here's your strategy. Just like we did on number lines, we're going to use that same strategy because we talked yesterday. A ruler is simply a number line. Very good. Simply a number line. So we're going to start at that 0, and here's 1, 2, and 3. So we know that the length of this pencil is
3 inches.
Thank you. 3 inches long, because we are measuring length at this time. We're measuring length. Now, sometimes when we have things on a paper, sometimes we are going to see, for some strange reason, I'm not real sure why, but sometimes our objects are not going to begin at the 0. Even though when we measure, if we're ever going to measure to be able to need it for a project or a purpose, our ruler's going to start where the object starts. But for some strange reason, and I told you I believe it's called higher order thinking, where you have to think at a higher level. They want to see if you can problem solve. They're going to use what's called a broken ruler. This is the broken ruler, and you're going to need to know how to measure with a broken ruler. You're going to see that it doesn't begin where a ruler usually begins, and so that's why it's called broken ruler. We're going to use the same strategies, though. We have got to see where this rod begins, and we see that we're going to go to the starting place, and we see that this one begins at the
6.
Now, this ruler doesn't give us the customary units. It doesn't tell us what it is, but by looking at it, you can tell that we're measuring in what?
Inches.
Absolutely, we're measuring in inches. So we see that this rod begins at 6 inches. Now I'm going to go and look at the end of this rod. The end of this rod, we see it ends at
8.
Beautiful, it ends at 8. And here we go with our strategy, just like we do number lines. Going to start here. Here goes 1 and 2. So we know that this rod is 2 inches long. You're going to find out that we're going to continue practicing this, and we're going to find out in a little while, in a day or two, how we're going to use broken ruler to solve problems. But broken ruler it's not difficult. It's just you've really got to pay attention to where these objects begin and where these objects end.